In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Seeing red, so don't push me. Ain't Donald Trump trying to grab him by the... Said it was some Haitians somewhere out in Springfield. Women doing cartwheels.
Have you seen Garfield?
Eat the cat.
Have you seen Snowball? This about to snowball. I'm about to go off. I can't let this go on. Miss me like an airball. Tell me where my cat is, cough it up like a hairball.
Eat the cat.
I gotta tell them if they even put the fingernail on Santa's little helper to turn them to hamburger helper. Somebody better help them, cause I'm going to jail for showing them fellas helter skelter.
Eating the dog.
Usually I'm content, but if you touch my dog, then I'm turning into John Wick. I'm lit. Bird better drop it. If you touch my pet, then I'm pulling up like CrossFit.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
It's a shame, it's a pity. Thought overseas where they said Hello Kitty, but it ain't there, it's right here in your city. When I turn my back, now the cat goes missing and they... Where my peoples is at? Does anybody know where he flipped with that? Cause I heard they putting claws on felines, I'm mad. And my cat disappeared just like Felix the cat. And they... Got paid back. Thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. If you ain't a pussy cat, say drop that cat. Drop that cat. Drop that cat. Got paid back. Thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. If you ain't a pussy cat, say drop that cat. Drop that cat. Drop that cat.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat.
Drop that cat.
What's up, guys? How's it going? We're here. We're live. Darth Melvin party. Gotten some people. We got people rolling in. My intro video for the stream is I got a rough draft complete. I don't think I'm gonna premiere it until we have the video segments ready. And maybe we'll make that the first official episode. I don't know. We've done a few of these. But this channel's rolling. We got a good turnout last week. We're just going to ride this momentum. We're going to keep the consistency going. Today's stream, we're going to talk about Candace Owens, everyone. Now, I don't have an anti-Candace Owens agenda. I just see her as someone that is grifting. Just saying ridiculous shit just to get her name out there. It's like we're talking about her tonight. And I think tonight, I haven't seen, we're going to go over her video talking about the Turning Point USA. And then she made it to our friend Piers Morgan makes another appearance on the channel. We're going to react to that. So I think she, before watching all this, ran her mouth about this shit, pushing a whole bunch of nonsense to the retards on the right. Like there's retards on both sides. She's appealing to the retards on the right that believe in every single conspiracy theory ever thought of. And now she's backtracking, to my understanding. So we're going to go over and see what she says. We're going to see what she says on Piers. Maybe I'll change my view on it based on listening to her. See, unlike the leftists, I can change my views based on new information. You know, like not everyone is just a Nazi, not everyone needs to be canceled, but it is my opinion that she's a fucking liar, that she's a clown, and she's appealing to the retards that are on the right, that believe in all the conspiracy theories, And now that she's kind of backtracked, got the call, so they're turning on her, it seems. There's evidence of that in the chat. And we got Star Wars Marvel Pierce taking a shot. Candace Owens is an Obama voter. I would never take political advice from any moron that voted for Obama. Big time clown. And if we got any Candace Owens fans in the chat, I'm going to listen to her. We're both going to listen to her, and on her show and Piers Morgan. And who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. But that's what I think going into this. At first, it seemed like the Daily Wire got rid of her because she kept talking about Israel and the Jews, and that might be true. Based on what happened with Nick Fuentes, his experience with the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro. But I think she took that, and either the Daily Wire knew she was fucking insane and that's why they got rid of her, or she just took that and decided, all right, this is how I'm going to grift the right wing. And who knows, she might be controlled opposition anyways, voting for Obama. So let's get into it. Candace Owens. We got a lot to go over. Fuck, 5.69 million subscribers. Hold on, I want to check the Social Blade. Is she gone up in followers recently? No, it's been about the same. 5.65 on December 5th. I thought there was like a massive spike just within the last couple days, but gets 19 million views a week, 63 million in the last 30 days. Well, that'll pay the bills. That will pay the bills. And so, there's a lot of money in saying shit like this. So here we are. Erica and I sat down. Here's what happened. I believe this was like a 4-hour interview. So let's see what she had to say.
Okay, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody back at home. Happy Hanukkah to our greatest friends and allies.
It just, what happened to Charlie Kirk was terrible. And what Erica is going through right now, and you have someone like Candace Owens, who was close to Charlie, saying all this shit. It's like Erica, I'm sure, has not been taking this well, and probably wanted to incite violence.
And, this is a good time to mention that Israel does have a right to defend itself. Tucker Carlson is Adolf Hitler, and TikTok does need to be purchased by the Mossad. It's just how I'm feeling today. I am not different. Maybe you are different. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, you guys.
Is the show is called Candace? It just oozes narcissism. It just does.
You're crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy.
You can't come up with anything else.
The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. We had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Erica said.
What I think happened, I think she sat down with them and they're like, look, bitch, these are the facts, and you keep this up, you're gonna get fucked with the law. That's what I think. And she realized that she took it as far as she could, and I'm sure it benefited her with the views and subscribers. And who knows where she goes from here.
Said stop, and then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like as they just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happened. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West. I never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized I can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh, yes, Kanye, that I get this. Okay. Nobody is changing their mind anything. How ridiculous would it have been if I'm doing all of this, investigating, asking all of these questions, and then Erica Kirk offers to answer some of these questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. I can't betray the people. I don't want any answers to the questions. I just want to ask them. No, this is the entire reason we are doing this. We've been looking at the situation going, why can't Turning Point USA just answer basic questions? And I can tell you guys that yesterday, for 4 hours and 30 minutes, there were no rules. They said you can ask us any question that you want, anything that's on your mind, which I appreciated. And some of you guys are thinking, who is they? Who is they? It's the Jews, obviously. Just kidding. It's Justin Strife. Justin Strife was in the room, and then I brought my cousin Mia, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing here. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table, it was really just the four of us until George left. And I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room, what Erica's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water.
Oh, I'm sure there was legal threats.
Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too. It was a lot. There's a lot going on, okay? And the conversation started with Justin Strife.
I didn't drink their water, you guys. They were going to poison me. It's just shit like this, man. But I guess it appeals to people, and it's like, I love conspiracy theories, but you got to be able to tell the difference between someone who is a piece of shit and is just lying to everyone.
Very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erica was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with obviously a bit of a fever pitch, what I tweeted, that it was a God-forsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive.
Yeah, she's walking that back.
In the retrospect, I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning. Like
Charlie gets killed. I was under attack, everyone. Erica's husband is dead. Well, I was under attack.
Casually, when I mentioned the Catholicism thing, like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly aimed at me. And they've teased the interview. It's like aimed at me, but they never say my name. And that to me felt like it was the first, the first bit of mud that was slung, which a new system had to be put in the authority to go out and say that the obviously was not the meat of the reason that we wanted to sit down. I will say I was immediately refreshed by the fact that one of the first things that Erica did was she owned the lies, or rather, I guess they would cage it as miscommunications that were coming from various people at the company. Like, look, this is a company with 650 people that are employed. Everybody at this time is exceedingly emotional, and they are communicating. And no matter what somebody says on Twitter, they assume this communication has come down from management, and that's not always a circumstance. But they owned right away, which felt great, that if you guys recall, Erica sat down with Glenn Beck. I asked because a lot was kind of saying that she had Charlie's phone and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before, saying that because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people the night before. And then I went on Jimmy Dore on Friday.
Get to our friend Pierce. I called it last week, I believe. I am going to make it on the Piers Morgan show at some point. Now, I have no idea how that will go, but that's I think that's a good goal for this channel. And, I was thinking earlier, I do a lot of work with the Disney shills on the Star Wars channel, and I know how to get under their skin. I know how to get them to cry. Like, what's to stop me from doing something like with Candace Owens, AOC, all these other politicians, influencers? I could do the same fucking shit to them, and we could blow up this shit. And we might just get on Piers Morgan.
Jimmy Dore show, and I clarified. I said Andrew Colvett told me specifically that he was one of the people that received this text message. So I got that first person. I didn't get that from a source. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett.
And that's the most sick part of it, is like grifting off of the retards on the right that believe in all the conspiracy theories. It's grifting off the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who was supposed to be her friend. That's what I find the most sick about what she's doing.
And then somebody who had access to Dan Flood's communications to Erica about that, and that those almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who they were, can't that TikTok, because you guys are acting a fool all the time. And the videos were so hilarious of you guys mocking the Barry Weiss interview. It's great. I was sort of like, hey, I felt name checked by the podcaster, Candace Owens, this obvious setup, and then asking me to stop. And it's interesting to hear Erica say that the reason she didn't ask me to stop in the beginning, because she was actually learning things from the show. She was actually learning things. And that I think she similarly
learning that you're a retard.
Felt that Barry Weiss was trying to create a moment. Obviously, it's who Barry Weiss is. It's the Zionist lobby. She's trying to right perceived wrongs because I'm against her side. That does not surprise me. That's kind of why Barry Weiss exists. That's the reason they put her at CBS, is because she's just committed to.
I don't think I would be that controversial like Nick Fuentes, but I think I could make it. I think we could push the channel to that popularity level. Maybe some Home Alone 2 Pigeon Lady memes. We can go a little hard on those.
Stacking the audience with people that are going to present the pro-Israel cause and talk about anti-Semitism and talk about like crime being on the rise. It's kind of an embarrassment, but I actually do accept that. And I should also clarify that Barry Weiss obviously picked those questions. They were not random, like I told you. It wasn't like people were coming to the mic and it was an open mic and they didn't know what they were going to get. It was all
It does. I am committed to the Star Wars channel, have been for years, but I do think politics, I do think it has more potential.
Very much planned by Barry, but Erica said that she knew the general idea, like they were going to mention me and mention the conspiracies, but she was not given that specific, the podcaster, Candace Owens, question. So I think that's fair to clear that up. Now, I did not at all recant any of my suspicions, and I understand people disagree with me. about particular people at Turning Point USA. I communicated what I communicated in front of the whole world. I took the cameras down, how Terrell lied multiple times, and that I did not understand why he was there that day. They echoed what he said. They defended what he said, that they were trying something new that day, that they typically live stream, which is what Terrell said. They typically live stream ups, but they don't live stream like the outside prove me wrong type events. I personally do not trust him. And I obviously do not like the fact that I said, Tyler Boyer, that's not true. The camera's down there, but it's not a reason.
Get to the point, bitch.
For why he took it down immediately. It makes sense that as you're investigating, you're going to say, who's got the footage? Let's lock it down. But it didn't make sense to me that Tyler Boyer lied about it. And I don't trust Tyler Boyer. And that is never going to change. Similarly with Rob McCoy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I saw Charlie in a dream.
He makes my skin crawl. I can't explain it. I look at him and he's a bad person and nobody can make me feel one way or the other about that. I was surprised to learn, and this kind of gets into, I guess, us not knowing the inner workings at Turning Point USA, that Rob McCoy actually does not work with Turning Point USA in any capacity whatsoever. And so him communicating as he has done, like, I'm the pastor, I'm this, I'm that, it's just not real. It says that Turning and said, I'm America's pastor, and that he started wrong about that. And I will have a lot more to say about Rob McCoy and the magic bullet. Okay. Now we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage. There was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was.
So what is her theory on what happened? Is she just some idiot that's just like picking out stuff and just asking generic questions and getting everyone's mind racing? Or does she have like a actual theory on what happened that doesn't fit the official narrative, that some stupid leftist who was dating a trans assassinated him? Does anyone know in the chat?
With the 30-06, very quickly what happens is Andrew Colvett whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet, and he said he wanted to address all the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize, it's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through. The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen on these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death. And the internet clocked it, this miracle, the healthy bone. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive. Like, this is a quote, by the way. His bone was so healthy. I want to read it. This is allegedly from a surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, eek. That kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And immediately people in the comments responded to Andrew, and he said, this individual said, this post is so fake as it would violate HIPAA. Like, there's patient privacy. You can't just call up the surgeon. And then Andrew Colvett replies and says, rest assured, I would not have posted without full permission. Now, he said he spoke to the surgeon, and they confirmed that Andrew spoke to the surgeon. But
so this is not a real post. It's a trust me, bro, quoting the surgeon.
That they did not know that he was going to write that tweet. They did not know that he called up the surgeon. So like, it very much came across to be like Andrew was just flying by the seat of his pants. I don't know. Like, he was just flying dark on it. And I was like, that seems very strange to me, because why would a surgeon do that? Like, the first thing Andrew is quite literally the PR guy who's calling the surgeon. And so that it for a person to do, period. And I would say it was kind of the beginning, but that was what I got from that. Now, Obviously, we discussed the security. I brought up Brian Harpole, this interview with Sean Ryan, and I think we can believe Turning Point when they say that they did not approve of this. They had no
How does she have 5.69 million subscribers?
idea he was going on Sean Ryan. I think that's pretty clear out there, and reputation worse, actually, because people rightfully sensed that he wasn't telling the truth in that interview, that he was being cagey, that he was saying things that didn't make any sense on camera. So I was hoping to hear that. And I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point. So it's what that thing is. If that's what if we want to protect the integrity of the case, I'm not gonna. If you say we've got the footage of him taking a shot, I promise I won't say that to the audience. But exactly, he said that they have nothing but the affidavit. Okay, so what you have, what we have seen, is what they have. What is being discussed publicly. You are this whole non-expert problem with well, you don't know. It's what you read. His messages that don't have any dates on it. Tyler Robinson writing out everything in the clean alibi. That's what they have. What takes place is they don't actually share that information with the victim. They don't share that information with Erica. They don't. In this part of the process, they will not know what investigators have discovered. This is what the lawyer told me until May. Okay, they will not. They have not seen anything that you have not seen. Is what I want you to know. So, with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, "What convincing?" The text filming that to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times it'll become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offered that a more honest way to communicate would be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly. I've said that. I think he's involved. That is not what you got there. A hearing, which is the
we're 20 minutes in and she hasn't even mentioned Erica. I don't know what she's rambling about.
Probable cause hearing. That's what the lawyer told me. It's probable cause hearing. And that's when they will see the evidence. That's when they get to present the evidence, why they are going to stand there before a judge and be like, yes, we need to move this forward. It's not just an affidavit. We're not pulling together scraps. We have concrete evidence. Until then, okay, until we all get on the same page and understand what else they have, I am very confident stating the opposite of all of my, I guess, well-paid peers in that I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. And what I also said...
All right, then who did? That's important. Who did?
To them was, and I said this in front of the lawyer because I don't know why I'm like this. I was like, you might need a new lawyer. I was like, because this person's trying to sell to you that this is solid. One of the rules that me and my husband have is that if you have a lawyer that tells you you're 100% going to win, it's very clear that you're going to win. You need a new lawyer. Okay, that's a cheerleader. That's not a lawyer. A lawyer, even if you should want to talk real risks, that what I told them, which is your lawyers or the investigators rather, not their lawyers, because they're not, as he was touched down to your prosecution. He saw the person on the roof. He filmed the person on the roof at 12:23 p.m. and he did not see that person take the shot. And this is not some random student. This is a guy who trains people to shoot guns at a range. He knows guns, okay? He said what he saw was a smaller gun. He said that this person was dressed in black tactical gear and there was no recoil. That's devastating. That would be devastating to the prosecution. And yet investigators haven't reached out. Now they offered back, well, maybe they haven't reached out because they have an even clearer video and that's
so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me and I see Mikey there. And I will never forget what I saw because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy.
I don't know, the guy in court looked like an insane piece of shit that would do something like this.
He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw because it was clear
And you know what annoys me about this? It causes infighting with the right, with the conservatives, because it's like this tragedy happened and it was a leftist nut job that did it. But then you got Candace coming in there, and instead of us just running with what happened, a leftist nut job, Candace is dividing it and taking attention away from how unhinged the left is and putting it on herself and pointing the finger at Turning Point, pointing the finger at Trump and who knows what, like foreign entities were involved when it's really an unhinged leftist. And, you know, if we're gonna get anything from this, you know, if we're gonna get, we're just gonna keep blaming the leftists that did it. You know, that's if that's gonna give us any peace. But this piece of shit is, you know, is confusing the narrative and is getting people to get off of that. And I think she's fake news. Never forget, 10 years ago, Candace Owens ran a website called Social Autopsy, which the purpose was to dox non-leftists. He's a rat, and Candace is also a man. Doing a horrible job being convincing. It's like you have to come up with some sort of theory on what it is instead of just like asking generic questions and then like pointing fingers. All right, I guess Candace is not a man, but Macron's wife. A 1 in the chat if you think she's a man. A 2 if you think she's a female. Now, as much as I don't trust Candace Owens, like Macron's wife looks like a dude. But it's like it's coming from Candace Owens, and at this point she has no credibility. But like she looks like a fucking dude. What do you guys think?
In the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was then he was looking around and then he says, I need to call Erica. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erica. And I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. This, you know, your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. I put that as we need everyone to pray.
Okay, so that's just not right. And so when he says, I might be imagining this, for I'll never forget, followed by I might be imagining this, probably means that maybe you forgot and like you really could be imagining now. If adrenaline situation really up, there's a lot of details here that are just not even the. And Charlie was like, 1, 2, 3, go, and like fast, 1, 2, 3, go. That's why he walked away. 1, 2, 3, go, and just told him, this is what the first thing you do is. Well, he didn't do that. Actually, the first person he called was his wife. He called Elizabeth McCoy. 3 ways. Annie McCoy, by the way, is his brother that's in the military, but that's before the shot goes off. Charlie Kirk shot goes off. You know, I have that in detail. Charlie's brought to security. Mikey McCoy calls his wife.
All right, we're almost a half hour in. What happened with Erica?
They will stay on the phone but they were forthcoming with it. That feels good. That feels good, guys. Like, wow, we don't have to guess. Now we have solid answers. And like I said, saying to them, that made me feel really weird. And
this is probably the most I've watched of Candace Owens, and like I don't even know if I can make it through this whole fucking video.
I would love to know more and about this Bibi Netanyahu offer to fund Turning Point to the next level. At which point Erica said she was not aware of that happening. It is obviously totally possible that that was kept in the business lane of Turning Point USA. But I'm certain, I said, I am absolutely certain that I did not get this from an obscure source.
And looking at the stream numbers, Rumble is kicking ass. Fucking kicking ass. YouTube, on the YouTube side, acting like Macron's wife.
That Bibi offered to fund Turning Point to the next level. And it was part of my frustration with that sit down with Alex Clark, where Andrew said, oh, there was not $150 million that's made up. I told them who would have knowledge of this. Barry acting. Well, these are the usual suspects that act and start putting money back where it belongs, which is in your pocket. PDS Debt is phone, open the App Store or Google Play, type you never miss platforms that respect your moment that you can make a switch. Just click the link. Okay, so a couple of things I want to say. First and foremost, I just got a live update that I thought it was Danny McCoy on the call log. I should totally correct one of Danny, so we want to be active. Another thing, you guys may have been noticing that we are getting into this weird space where they seem to be almost writing like Candace Owens fan fiction. I can't even reply to things.
So is she not even going to talk about what happened? Like, I'm looking at the timestamps. Is she even going to address the sit-down meeting?
And a lot of you sense that this was because we were getting close. I agree. I fully agree that these attacks, which have grown hysterical, like I can't even begin
I think the Piers Morgan stuff will be better. Like, this is fucking garbage.
to tell you the conversations between me and my PR person. I'm like, there's nothing to respond to. I mean, there's not even one sentence of this that is true. Did a huge studio attempted to use their PR, but further to sort of them just creating and making things up, Tim Pool has now gone out and extraordinarily claimed that I have the same security as Charlie Kirk and that I'm a fraud and that actually I have the exact same security. You will recall that Tim just said
she is burning everything down. And she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you told me? She has no security. She doesn't deal with the we have to deal with. She's a piece of
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two no one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. And she doesn't give a about her security.
He's having a political meltdown.
So that was like Tim last Monday. This is Tim who said I had no security except for one fat guy, which I told you was not true. Now he's saying this. Take a listen.
Okay. I'll say things that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to say, 'cause I always get super heated on this. Candace Owens has the same security team as Turning Point and Charlie Kirk did. She's lying. She has the same security people. I've been digging into this. I've been meeting with people and talking with them. And I shouldn't say too much because there's more that's going to be coming out soon. Because rest assured, people are filing legal paperwork against her. Candace has the same security team or has used the same security companies and the same security personnel as Charlie and Erica did. Now begins. And what happens when litigation begins? People don't do interviews about it. Insanity.
That's what I most her hand there. Greg Schaefer, who just crazy town, but I do think that is right now the Zionist strategy, and that's why I want to encourage you guys to stay focused. Wachuca, which we're going to have a lot on tomorrow.
Biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a, quote, stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. And when you see
Darth Ghostface taking a shot at Tim Pool, calling him a fence-riding grifter. Didn't he used to be a liberal? She used the ancient Pasha method of storytelling. This is fucking garbage. We're going to have to speed this up and get to Piers Morgan.
pretty quick turn. And so those whole that whole theory kind of goes out the window.
Look at it, 125,000 likes, 60,000 dislikes. I'm gonna give it a dislike. Like, this is shit.
So, unless I am mistaken, and I am not perfect, but I do feel like we worked really hard to see when this location was first revealed. The first time that we found
government, but outer influence there. Tyler Robinson is getting radicalized right about the same time as Thomas Crooks, right about the same time as the other guy, Ryan Ruth. You know, he's being radicalized at a political...
That's the real story. Tyler Robinson, crooks. They're being indoctrinated, and that's the real story. But you got fucking Candace Owens pointing fingers at everyone just to get clicks.
Politically relevant period of time, right around the same time.
Thought that those messages were weird initially. That's good. That's what people want. They want fresh air at Turning Point USA. They want different perspectives. They want to feel like you're willing to have a conversation, and that at least you're going to defend people when they're being called liars when they're telling the truth about something. That would feel more authentic.
Maybe, but I don't know. It's too classic. But Crooks was a registered Republican. They always say that. He was a Republican. King Chris. Nah, no new masks.
I think. And so I am, just to say this, very happy that we are on much better feet and that we have opened the lines of communication. I do genuinely think that Justin Strife did a great job reffing that conversation yesterday. And that it made me really appreciate the fact that we do live in a matrix and every element is controlled. And that is why they are vicious right now with making up things about me and my family, because now that I chose freedom, they hate that I have freedom. They hate that there's no more threats to make, right? So they're just embarking on this fan fiction campaign.
And she said, like, the French government is trying to kill her.
But especially
fucking insane
for the people that I care about in life, right? Especially for people who said that Candace was hanging out with TPUSA and Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That was I apologize. That was so fucking bad. How about Pierce?
Let's assume for a moment you're right, and the
difference between before it's
well, no matter what your opinion is about Candace Owens, and very few people don't seem to have one, she has a definite knack for commanding attention. Many people have been openly enraged by her theorizing on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Many have been captivated nightly by what they see as either a thrilling real-time investigation into a colossal cover-up or a cynical strategy to exploit the most emotional. On Turning Point Week issued this firm request.
She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Well, shortly after that, Candace Owens was invited to a lengthy...
Like, look how mad she is. Like, goes through this unthinkable tragedy, and you got fucking Candace Owens out there running her stupid mouth.
Private meeting with Erica Kirk, which is now the catalyst for frenzy speculation that she may be having second thoughts about some of her theories. She's also, I should add, marking the release of her new book, Make Him a Sandwich. And amid all of that, she joins me now for her first interview since the meeting with Erica Kirk. Candace Owens, welcome back to Uncensored.
It's good to be with you at the end of another year.
Yeah, maybe she'll actually talk about the meeting.
Yes, and what a year it's been, not least for you.
So she had an hour-long video on her channel and didn't really mention anything about it. A waste of fucking time.
It's fair to say your fame continues to rise. Infamy, some would put it. But you're always a welcome guest on Uncensored. Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erica Kirk. It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should stop, just stop with the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on Charlie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. It was, I'd almost say like a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never...
She bitched out of doing the live stream with them. Bitched out of it. That's what happened.
Messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It just was just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erica would agreed to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erica's PR blitz, they reached out again and said that they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right. And so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
So I think that is the most informative information we have heard all night, and we've gone through like an hour-long Candace Owens video.
A lot of your, as you know, a lot of your supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time they had some concerns, obviously, because I think in general, after you see a public assassination and you start tracking so many lies that are happening, there's
Kind of looks like an alien, man. Like maybe she's a reptoid.
Going to be an understandable amount of angst that people feel. And I certainly felt the angst as well. I've obviously been very clear that I am suspicious of some of the characters that are at Turning Point USA. So I totally understand why the public was concerned.
So he gets assassinated. Whoa, I'm suspicious of people at Turning Point USA. I think they did it themselves, but I don't have any evidence.
When you saw Erica, she was obviously angry about you in that CBS town hall. What was her demeanor like when you met her?
Well, I don't think that she thought she was angry in that. I think maybe that was the characterization from the public. I certainly thought she was angry as well. And she sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with the podcaster Candace Owens, which I think was definitely being driven more by Barry Weiss's feelings towards me, long-running feelings towards me, than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning, is what she explained to me.
So how would you categorize the 4.5 hours? If you were looking at it in totality, what was the tone of the conversation? What do you think you both got out of it?
Well, for me, answers to the questions of trying to understand why there were so many Turning Point lies and why instead of people acknowledging that
Why are there many Turning Point lies?
these are lies, I felt that there was this billion-dollar psychological operation to convince people that Candace is just crazy. These aren't lies. These are made up.
$1 billion spent to defame Candace Owens. Candace is crazy, everyone. Charlie gets killed, but let's make it about Candace.
And so I was very refreshed that they owned up to the lies. That was a great first step. And I think, you know, what motivates that? Maybe because despite having what I would assume to be the best PR agents and crisis PR agents in the world, we're moving toward a different world where people don't really care. You know, if you are friends with the people at, what is it, WME and CAA and what they can do for you, that sort of power is ineffectual in this day and age.
I think she went over some of them in her stupid hour-long video, but you know, she just rambled a lot. I couldn't really take in much. I mean, were there some lies from Turning Point? Maybe. Like, is it relevant? I don't think so. It's just these kinds of people, this kind of mindset, looking for anything that's off, and then as soon as you see that, you cry conspiracy, and then you go down another rabbit hole, and then you're going to keep finding other stuff. And then there's people that they just want to believe it. They want to believe that there's something insane going on. And what happened was a unhinged leftist did it. That makes a lot of sense. And it makes the left look terrible. And you got Candace Owens trying to deflect blame from the left.
And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed. And I
Okay,
think
so-
on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And I was able to share more with them off record. And I think that they got more clarity in exchange.
Before we get into some of the sort of specifics, is there not a danger here? I've already seen it in some of the reaction from people that follow your show. Is there not a danger that in seeking to be the one that exposes the truth, and I don't know the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Killed him. However, I have a mission. I found the attempted assassination of Donald Trump very odd in the way that that's been handled by the authorities and so on. I'm not naive. As a journalist of 40 years, I'm not naive enough to say every single thing you've been saying is obviously baloney, because I don't know. And we'll get to some of the more specific details. But is there not a danger, Candace, that by having a 4.5-hour private meeting, rather than doing it in public, that all you're really going to do, collectively actually, you and Erica Kirk, is fuel the conspiracy theories about what you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you've been broadcasting on your... This is the least transparent way of going about trying to get solutions here.
I took the offer, obviously, to have any conversation, because if I hadn't done that, then I think everything I've been doing would have appeared disingenuous. Like, oh, Candace is pretending that she wants answers to her questions. But when she got this offer, she suddenly said she didn't want to go because it wasn't public. They would have felt like I was moving the goalpost. So I was willing to take anything. And from their viewpoint, they felt like after the CBS News and the Fox News hits that Erica did, it was... My understanding was that they felt that it was a good idea to have the other public discussion. I'm hopeful they will. I think they should. I totally agree with you. More transparency, the better. Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, and my husband was only there for a portion of it, and my cousin.
So there were no lawyers, for example?
No lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question.
Medicare.
I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously. If there is something which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more, but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut. And I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun. And I will tell viewers just to be patient. It was not convincing at all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen. And we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming? It was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show that they don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay.
I think the evidence is overwhelming, you dumb cunt.
There's all these cameras. Maybe they actually have that video and they're waiting for a moment to release that to the public. They don't have that. Or at least I can say Erica's side has not seen that. And the lawyer communicated to me that they would not have access to that until earliest would be May. That right.
We got SWA has gifted 5 subscriptions to Darth Melvin Party over on Rumble.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
You had Democrats that pretended that there was nothing wrong with Biden.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
It's embarrassing that they tried to run him again. It's like 2020 was really bad. He should not have been allowed to run because clearly he had dementia then. But you would think, okay, they got the Biden name in there, Obama's VP, we got the job done, 4 years, but it's like, obviously we can't run him out there again, and they actually fucking tried to run him out there again.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right, he did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
But hey, the strategy that they did, they got a candidate in there that didn't have to get any votes in the primary, so they accomplished something. But they got peed on.
Oh, fuck. I got peed on.
Thank you, SWA, for the gifted subscriptions over on Rumble. Biden, what a fucking clown. Complete clown.
Right now, they're just investigating, just like we're doing back at home.
Okay, you said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the world Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your 4.5 hours with Erica, do you believe that it is now most likely that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely not. I haven't seen one piece of compelling evidence that Tyler Robinson scaled the rooftops like Spider-Man on a college campus that he didn't go to, and fired one shot, a magic bullet shot, and killed Charlie Kirk. I have not seen one piece of compelling evidence. In fact, I've seen more compelling evidence to the contrary.
You've seen their...
So who did it? Who does Candace think did it? Someone at Turning Point? The Jews? Someone from the Trump administration? Like, who does she think did it? Instead, she's just been like, well, I don't believe Tyler Robinson did it. I haven't seen the evidence, even though there is a lot of evidence, even though he looks like a total piece of shit that is dating a trans and is definitely did it.
Vibrant ads. Oh, Shenyun at iconic venues like the Case to more than 200 shaded backdrops, which bring flawless costumes. Telace has been described for your family are really getting.
Not the fuck up, Piers Morgan.
Does Erica think killed her husband?
Well, I think that in her recent PR blitz, she sort of communicated that she trusted her team, and her lawyer was using kind of the same rhetoric that the media has been using, where, there's really, this is like, it's overwhelming. Maybe he didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said in particular. And then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit? That's all you guys have? And I did tell him, if you would never be my lawyer, because it's just, a lawyer that's just kind of giving you adjectives, and I don't need a cheerleader. I need someone to be practical.
So I was already not a fan of Candace Owens. Didn't have an agenda against her. I just called it for what it is. I think she's lying. After watching too much of Candace Owens in this stream, I just, my opinion on her is extremely fucking low.
And to say, we don't have anything yet. I think the communication should be, we are hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to uncover more evidence that links Tyler Robinson to this crime. I do feel confident that he was involved in some capacity on that day. As I have said many times on my show, I was the one who broke the story that he was at the Dairy Queen throwing out clothes, a local Dairy Queen, throwing out clothes in a nearby cemetery. And so I do think he was involved, and multiple people were involved that day. And I think he did pick up clothes. I had communication with Lance's family. I had communication with Tyler Robinson's family. And for some reason, Lance is being protected, which I find to be very strange. His own family thinks he's guilty of more, and they find it weird that the feds kind of glossed over him, almost as though he was a Fed operative. Like, he's have lied a lot. It's agreed to. They said that these were mistakes, but they, whether a mistake or not, the public was lied to. So this obviously, matters deeply to me, and it's just absurd that people would think that I'm doing this for clicks. I know Charlie.
You are doing it for clicks.
I knew Charlie. Charlie and I are very close, and it has been one of the most disgusting things ever that people first and foremost tried to start this psychological operation that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. They've lied about virtually everything that I've said on my podcast. I'm not going to let this go. Okay. We don't live in a country that is the embodiment of democratic principles. If Charlie Kirk gets publicly executed and the media apparatus is doing everything they can to cover the tracks, I would say to cover the tracks by demanding that there is no further inquiry into what happened on that day.
All right,
that is not a country that I can get behind.
Let's get to some of the details, because it seems to me you've put up a lot of theories, but a lot of them don't seem to have a clear conclusion from you about what you actually think happened.
Exactly, Pierce. Pierce, we gotta have Pierce on the stream. Darth Melvin party.
I mean, you've been all over this now ever since Charlie was killed.
So what happened, bitch? Like, you're saying all this shit. What do you think happened?
What do you believe happened to him? Who do you think killed him?
So I can't.
I don't know. Turning Point lied. I'm a reptilian.
Tell you definitively who pulled the trigger. I'm not going to lie to audiences and just put something out there that's not real. But what I can say is I feel convinced that the feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day. I am convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right and that he is not wanting to share any information. Just a couple of people are allowed to even see anything. A Fed told me that they can't even touch the Charlie Kirk file without risk of being fired, and that he's grown increasingly mad.
Trust me, bro. Trust me.
The U.S. Marshals that were there when they were doing the quote unquote manhunt for 33 hours said that Kash Patel effectively sent them on a wild goose chase, which is what was signaled to the public when he said, "We got him," and it was actually the wrong person. And so it caused people to stop looking because they were convinced that they had the shooter. They felt that that was in order to allow the real perpetrators of the crimes to get away.
But that could just be the fog of the immediacy of these things. We've seen it at Brown University, exactly the same thing. They thought they had the killer. They thought they had the killer. It turned out to be the wrong person, right? It doesn't mean there's any great conspiracy by the feds to cover anything up. And again, even if what you're saying is true, I don't know, maybe you're right. If what you're saying is true, what is it they're covering up? You've so far intimated or inferred something weird involving Egyptian planes. So, what's that about? You've inferred perhaps Israeli involvement in some way. You've certainly inferred a lot of Turning Point USA involvement. That's a lot of people getting involved here in the murder of Charlie Kirk, potentially. But
all she's got to do is throw out those names and the target audience will do the rest, the mental gymnastics.
What I'm really curious about is, given you've been all over all this and you've been airing all these theories, well, which one is it? It can't be all of these things. Is it somebody?
Well, of course,
is it someone at Turning Point USA? I mean, who do you actually believe was behind this?
Of course, it can be all of those things. And what's really ironic here is that there's a clip of Charlie in the last months leading up to his death where he speaks.
Why is Candace Owens the only one that really seems to be questioning what happened?
About the JFK assassination. And he says that multiple countries were involved, multiple people were involved, the LBJ was involved, the feds were involved. And he's correct. That is what it means. When there is a conspiracy, there are multiple people that are involved. Of course, there's not one.
All right, so what is more likely, that every single party, the feds, Mossad, other countries, Turning Point, Erica, the neighbors, unhinged fans from the YouTube channel, what's more likely, that they were all involved in some sort of way and it's all connected, or Candace is just a liar and a grifter and is saying this for views? What's more likely?
person on a grassy knoll who shot JFK.
Well, it might have
there
been
are
that.
people who had to
It might have
agree
been
to it.
that.
There had
We
people
don't.
who would have
Well,
had
hang on,
to. The Dallas police were involved.
Candace.
Hold on, I'm answering your question. I'm answering
No,
your
but
question.
my
You're-
See, the same people that follow her and believe everything she's saying, they've probably turned on Alex Jones. They think like Alex Jones is different now. Like he's a clone or something, man. He lost weight, so he must be a clone. Alex Jones is got the call. He's bought and paid for now. You know, it's always a conspiracy.
You're asking, why aren't you just going to point to one person? That to me, even that seems like a part of telling people not to believe their own gut. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. Now, who knows what their motivations are? Doesn't mean maybe this person's like, hey, I'm going to help you.
Hang on. Okay, let me stop you. Hang on. When you say obviously somebody at Turning Point, you are accusing right now people that worked with Charlie Kirk at the company he built, which is now run by his widow. You are directly accusing people in that company of being complicit in his murder, right?
I want to just be very clear connecting that dot. So I said that when there is a conspiracy, of course, there are going to be multiple people involved. So applying that same logic to JFK, right? Knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, and they were the ones that wanted him dead for saying that what is now AIPAC should have to register under FARA. So there's motive. There are people that have to be involved on the ground that day. There are people that have to be willing to allow the perpetrators to get away. There has to be media that's complicit, and that's what literally Operation Mockingbird was. It was established
But you know the problem.
to persuade
You know the problem,
public.
Candace. Here's the problem.
Well,
hang on.
It was established. So
but here's the problem with everything you're saying.
In this massive
You
cover-up.
keep saying, and this is where people think you're prone to endless conspiracy theories for whatever reason.
Okay.
Is you keep using the phrase they have to have been involved. So by that yardstick, what you're saying is with JFK's assassination, and we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK, but the one possibility you've not ruled in is it was just as simple as Lee Harvey Oswald. It might have been. We don't know. Right, so when you say the media has to have been involved, Lyndon Johnson has to have been. But my problem is you're stating all these things as facts.
We can't do 63. It's such a nonsense to say that it was Lee Harvey Oswald acting.
You don't know that.
That's just such a nonsense. Okay, yeah, no, I do know it was not Lee Harvey Oswald acting by himself, and then that required national security to lock down the files, and that required the feds to impart, the CIA to impart Operation Mockingbird to convince the public that it was, you can't go against, there's a grieving widow, don't look further into it, don't believe your own eyes.
But let me just say, this is your, Candace,
it was a grand conspiracy that killed JFK.
Candace,
I am going to say that confidently, and I just think we have to grow up. We have to grow up. We can't keep pretending Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Fine.
We can't keep doing that.
That is your opinion. Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum
Shut up, Pierce.
Scares order. Listen, there are still conspiracy theories about JFK's assassination. None of this is a fact. You are floating it as your theory.
Because the feds are never going to admit to their own crimes. That is the reason we're still discussing it.
That may be the case, but you can't prove that.
Yeah, well, I can prove common sense that Lee Harvey Oswald did not stand on a grassy knoll and assassinate a person.
So don't tell me that every single fucking person was involved. Tell me specifically what you think. You spent all this time spreading doubt about the official narrative. Give me your most educated guess on exactly what happened. She can't do it because she doesn't want to do it. It's part of her grift. She's going to just throw out all those names, Turning Point, feds, foreign entities, and her audience is going to do the calculations for her. They're going to jump to conclusions, and that's all she needs to do.
president, and
Okay.
LBJ, like Charlie says in that clip, which people should go pursue.
Yes, I know Charlie
all
said
of the
that.
weird things that happened that day that were unusual, and LBJ
All right, but let's
decided
get
not
back
to
to
ride that
all right,
day.
let's get
and then
back to-
suddenly he reversed course on all
Okay,
of JFK's
let's
policies,
move off
and
from
he was
JFK.
fighting AIPAC. Israel killed JFK.
All right.
Now, going back to your point about Turning Point USA,
Yes.
and the
It's
ridiculous
just like,
idea
it's
that implicates.
completely different. She's just trying to like prove, oh, there like there's conspiracies in the past, like this official narrative wasn't correct, so what's going on with Charlie must also be a conspiracy. No, it's like one thing could be a conspiracy, maybe, but that doesn't mean that that Charlie's is also a conspiracy. Separate events.
This is a $100 million organization.
Yeah.
Common sense. If this was not even a high-profile political assassination, and this was just a guy who worked at a company that was $100 million, right? Common sense inquiry is, was there a financial motive for this person to be dead? Okay. This is like Sherlock Holmes 101. And this is what I mean when I say that the public no longer trusts the media because you're acting us to be stupid. And we don't want to do that. We actually don't want to pretend that we're clinical idiots who can't assess things and go, oh, there could be a massive motive here to have Charlie dead, especially when it seems very strange.
All right,
that
what is the motive? Why would Turning Point want him dead? Why would Erica want him dead? Why do the feds want him dead?
Bibi Netanyahu, when nobody even had a clue of what happened, this guy's doing the rounds on Fox News and saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. That's kind of weird. Did you feel compelled to jump on to Piers Morgan's show and say, just so everybody knows, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk? Why would he say that? Why was he so involved as somebody who's fighting a 97,000 front war?
Candace, I want to get to the reality of what you're actually saying. So when you say that somebody at Turning Point USA, Charlie's company, was complicit in his murder, who? Who was?
I believe that there were multiple
I don't know.
people at Turning Point who are, as I have said many times, my exact words are, they are engaged in a cover-up of what happened to Charlie on that day.
No, but who
I've
was
been
involved
very-
in his murder?
I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
You said
My
that
show,
people
I've
at
been very
Turning
clear.
Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe
Sorry,
that
you didn't.
thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that. You said literally.
I did say that
they
on
were,
my entire
You said
show.
there were people at Turning Point complicit in
No.
his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
She did say that.
When you and I were discussing, that's why I said, let's go back. I was applying the
Get her, Pierce.
logic of a conspiracy to JFK. I said, okay, if JFK, you have people that are complicit. Of course,
Let's
if you
forget
apply that
JFK.
logic, if there
Let's
is a
forget
conspiracy,
And Pierce is fucking this woman worse than he's ever done his wife.
there's going to be multiple people that are going to be complicit by the time, in order for a large stage murder to
But
happen.
you specifically
so I'm using
said,
an
you didn't say
analogy of
complicit
JFK.
in a cover-up. You said complicit
Okay,
in the murder. Because I said, who at Turning Point
let
was
me
involved
clarify for you.
in his murder? And
Let
you
me
said,
clarify for you. Okay, you can keep saying what I said, or you can listen to what I am saying.
Okay.
When I was using the analogy of JFK and we were connecting it, I was basically pushing back on you because you were suggesting that
Shut up, cunt.
all of these people being involved would be crazy. So I was applying the
No, I
analogy
said
of
I
what
don't
happened to
know.
JFK. Well, you actually, if you go back,
I gotta take the shut up cunt clip and just put like Candace's face instead of Arthur Miller's wife.
Shut up, cunt.
back and
I
listen,
said I don't know.
suggesting that a
I said
conspiracy.
you don't know
Okay, well,
either. You're floating theories.
when we started
which are
talking about
you're
the JFK
perfectly
thing,
entitled. Listen, let me make it clear.
Piers, I really think you're not holding on to your thought.
Listen, if you're gonna question the official narrative of what happened, I think there is a socially acceptable way to do it. You're gonna have to walk a line, but I think there's a more socially acceptable way to do it. The way Candace is doing it is really in your face and very grifty, clearly for the views. And if you're also going to do that, come up with an actual theory on what you think happened. She fails to do that. She just says everyone is involved. has no clue and is just ignoring evidence, saying that, oh, Tyler Robinson, it can't be him. I haven't seen conclusive evidence, and is just stirring the pot, and it's ridiculous.
Candace, let me spell out my thought very clearly.
When we started talking about JFK, the implication that you were making was that it was crazy to suggest that multiple people could have been involved at different levels. I was then connecting the dots and saying that in order for the JFK assassination to happen, there had to have been tons of people that were complicit.
I understand.
Right?
I heard what you said.
Maybe you're the person who takes the cameras down. Maybe you're the person that told him to drive that day. Maybe you're LBJ. So they're not all complicit in the murder, but they're all at different varying stages involved in the cover-up. Right? So that's what a grand conspiracy actually is. And I do believe, so you don't have to go back.
So how were they complicit? Oh, it'd just be, yeah, they didn't murder him, but they hid evidence. This is it's at least better than the video that she had on her channel.
Back and we don't have to go through it. I'm telling you what I think about Turning Point. You know, I am very known for being honest about what I believe. You're not I'm not exactly a person that you got to pull teeth on.
Sure.
I believe that there are people at Turning Point who are engaged in covering up what happened on that day.
But were any of them engaged in the planning of the murder of...
And what's the motive of them covering it up?
Charlie Kirk.
I wouldn't know how it was planned. Absolutely, I can't make that. I cannot confidently make that statement. I can say confidently that I know they're engaged in the cover-up because I've been investigating what happened.
Well, I don't care if you don't know exactly. Tell me what you think happened. Your educated guess on this topic that you're obsessed with grifting about. Tell me what you think happened. You're such a know-it-all.
On that day and what transpired thereafter. I've been clear. I've named those people on my show. I've said they are engaged in a cover-up, and I've listed the lies. So you don't have to try to make something out of what I didn't say. I tell you what I think. It's already controversial. We don't need to get more controversial, okay? Do I think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger? No. Obviously, I don't think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger. We don't even know who did pull the trigger. So how can I say that they're...
Did anybody at Turning Point, in your opinion, know that Charlie Kirk was going to be murdered?
There is specifically 2 people at Turning Point USA, and I have communicated that information to Erica and Justin Strife, that I would not be surprised if they had foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk being assassinated.
But do you have any evidence?
I'm not going to name. I am not going to name those people, okay? Because it's not right for me to name those people until I know for a fact that they did.
Did you give the names Did you give the names to Erica?
Yes, so I absolutely did.
You gave the names to Erica of 2 employees, current employees at Turning Point, who you believe were involved in the preparation for the murder of Charlie Kirk. Is that what you're saying?
I told them that if I were in your shoes, these would be 2 employees that I would look further into. That's
and what evidence do you have that they had any prior knowledge of the murder?
Because I don't have concrete evidence is the reason why I'm not naming them. So I've been responsible.
Got no evidence,
not saying,
but you're telling the widow that these 2 people may have been involved in the murder. But you see the problem.
Well, what the evidence for it is people that there is not concrete evidence. It's like you're trying to get me to say something that I never said and then asking me to defend it.
No,
I'm not
asking what evidence
let's
you've
actually
got.
go to. You're asking me privately. Did I communicate to them that I think you should look further?
You're just going in circles. Going in fucking circles. Talking nonsense.
That's called an investigation, Piers. Okay, so what you're doing is a strategy of like, if somebody dies, you're saying to the police, you can't ask any questions about anybody unless you have concrete evidence. We're at the stage of investigation.
I'm not saying
yes,
that.
You can, and let me give people in the public the permission to do this. Follow your instinct. If you feel something is off, keep asking questions until you get concrete evidence. And when you have concrete evidence, you should name those people. I don't have the concrete evidence.
You have named other people.
I find their inconsistencies.
Okay. But you have named other people.
I'm trying to answer, Piers, you can't ask me questions. You can't ask me questions. Let me finish it. I have communicated to them that their inconsistencies make me uncomfortable. I have communicated to them that somebody else who is a third party gave me some information that I am not yet comfortable as I am vetting it, giving it to the public, because that's the responsible thing to do. These are private citizens. And that if I were in their shoes and had more access to information,
I wanted that to be true. But if it's coming from Candace Owens, and that's that went pretty viral. It's got to be fake, based on all this shit that she's pushing about Turning Point, Charlie Kirk. Like, you can't trust anything this person says. But I mean, she does look like a man.
Would go down that route, okay? Unless I am fully confident that they actually did have something to do. Like, here is the smoking gun.
So, we're about halfway through the Piers Morgan. I went into this with an open mind. I already just determined that she was a grifter and is just making up bullshit. And it's, my opinion on her has tanked extremely low. It probably can't get much lower. Unless she's like a raging leftist like AOC. But I mean, the shit that she's doing, deflecting from Tyler Robinson, the tranny lover, and the leftists, like, I don't care for that. Because that is the real problem that's going on here. And she's pointing the fingers at Turning Point. She's pointing the fingers at the Trump administration. It's ridiculous.
And I'm not going to name those people,
Okay.
but the people I have named thus far are people that I believe are engaged in a cover-up. Like I said, hold me accountable for what I have said.
Let's talk about one of those people. Let's talk about one of those people,
Cool.
because the Turning Point...
It's just like, are you an investigator or something? It's like, how come you're the only one who's like coming up with all this shit?
Producer Blake Neff wrote this in early December. Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for the show.
So I thought that she was going to kind of walk this back. I don't think she's really walking anything back. But I'm not a Candace Owens expert. I haven't like watched too much shit with her. Seems to be kind of sticking to it, but like she doesn't really have a real theory. She's just exposing herself as a liar.
She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. Now, let's move then to, you said in your podcast that new information was given to you in your meeting with Erica Kirk about Mikey McCoy. You devoted the whole episode to this guy and his supposed
I never
strange
said I
behavior.
have information that satisfied me about Mikey McCoy.
Well, okay, well, I'll ask you to
that's not a direct
clarify.
quote.
Okay, well, you can clarify
Okay.
that in a moment. But let's hear what you said about Mikey McCoy before the meeting.
So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly
Kind of looks like a reptoid, man.
834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear. And
Got in your meeting with Erica about Mikey McCoy.
so I'm sorry your gotcha is not going too well, but I never then said, I am now satisfied that Mikey put the phone to his ear. What I presented to the public, it was
No,
what
I
Erica
didn't say
gave to
that.
me.
Sorry, let me give you the chance to clarify. It's a very familiar story when it comes to debt. The bank PDS
Shut
debt
up,
has
Pierce.
helped hundreds of thousands of people and medical on the minimum credit. You are the best way to categorize it, or changed
No,
some
I
of
never
your
said
mind?
that. I just presented it. Well, the only thing that I clarified on my podcast, if that's what they're getting wrong, is that some people thought that he was using a nickname that was his middle fine.
Charlie's murder.
I can't say that he had prior knowledge of the murder unless I have something concrete. I can't say anything about prior knowledge. What I can say is what happened on that day. Mikey's
I
behavior.
can't say anything unless it's concrete, but I can make a million videos about it and get millions of views and cash in on Charlie Kirk's death, even though he was my good friend. But I don't have concrete evidence.
Behavior is weird on that day. I find it weird, like I said in the podcast yesterday, that what has been communicated to the public is like he called Erica instantly. First thing he did was call Erica instantly. And that's actually the call logs show that he didn't call Erica
But
instantly.
what are you suggesting
he called
about
his
this
wife
guy? 'Cause
instantly, and then he had 3
as
ways.
you know, when you've got a
and
massive platform,
and then
but
showing
Candace,
his call log
here's the
showed that
problem.
Blake Neff actually
You have
didn't
a
tell the truth about what happened on that day.
But here's the problem, Candace. You have a massive platform, as you know. Millions and millions of people hang on your every word.
Because she's a piece of shite. That's why.
When you devote a large part of an entire episode to the strange behavior of Charlie Kirk's chief of staff, you are putting a target on the guy's back. You're inferring he has something to do with this, or something to do with some cover-up, or whatever it is you're inferring. You know what you're doing when you do that. When you saw Erica Kirk, did you say to her that you believe there's something suspicious about Michael McCoy? Was she able to explain to you why there isn't? Or does she share your view that he is somehow complicit in this in some way?
His father, who I think it's strange to me that that man calls himself a pastor. I communicated fully that involved with bad people and Bob McCoy and Mikey McCoy's relationship. I would just like to be clear. I am not going to be emotionally conditioned to believe that asking questions when we aren't getting any answers is the crime itself. The crime was when Charlie got shot in the neck. So,
but you've already said, you've already said though, you told
the easiest way to remove, the easiest way, let me finish. You can't ask me questions, not let me finish.
You're contradicting what you've just said to me.
But you have to.
You said to me earlier,
what did I contradict?
You said you gave 2 names of people in the Turning Point organization that you believe are complicit in some way. You gave those names, but you wouldn't name them because it wouldn't be right to do that. But you did name this guy, Mikey McCoy, who was the chief of staff.
Because his actions are strange. You're 2 different things. I really, Pierce, I think you're having trouble holding on to 2 buckets of thought here, okay? You said, in regards to someone that was complicit in murder, that is a very serious allegation. I gave them names of people that would not surprise me if they did have foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's murder. You are now shifting gears and you're asking me about Mikey McCoy and why I am raising red flags about his behavior on that day. Because I believe his behavior on that day was weird. I think
your behavior's weird, Candace. I think your behavior's weird.
It's painfully obvious that his behavior was weird. I don't know people that don't duck when a shot comes down.
Complicit?
So I'm pointing. I'm sorry that I have eyes, and I am agreeing with the public that Mikey McCoy's behavior was weird on that.
I just think when it comes to her, it's, I mean, she's on Piers Morgan, uncensored. It's crazy she has more subscribers than him, probably gets more views. It's just more exposure for her. And, you know, her fans are just going to think she's on to something. It's amazing, though. Over 5 million subscribers. Like, how is that possible?
Day. Okay, these are 2 different things. Now, if I'm going to make the an assertion that somebody had something to do with planning this murder, I better be damn sure. And I need, if I said that on my podcast, right? That's all I'm saying. I had never made that claim that Mikey McCoy planned Charlie Kirk's assassination.
No, I think like a lot of the claims you're making, it's difficult to work out what you're actually claiming. You're throwing a lot of mud in the air, including people's names, which immediately then has millions of people chasing after these guys on social media and thinking,
I'm sorry they get caught lying. Like, I'm sorry, what is this? This is like the public is actually being abused, okay? Let's stop pretending that the victim
Are they, or do you just
Rob
want them to think
McCoy.
they are?
No, the public is being abused because you're basically saying, stop noticing that people at Turning Point USA are lying.
No, I'm not. Deviation of what you're saying.
What are they lying about?
Mikey lies and Rob McCoy lies and Blake Neff lies. And yes, all of these people have lied on record after the assassination. And the public goes, hey, that's kind of a weird lie. You're like, how dare you put a target on their back by noticing that they're lying? I mean, what weird psychological operation is this?
Do you believe?
Don't lie.
Okay, but do you believe Erica Kirk has been lying about it?
No, I have been explicit on my show when people were saying, why aren't you attacking Erica Kirk? I said, because Erica Kirk has not lied. If to the extent that she lies, I will call it out. And that is why I did call out when she lied, okay? When she said Charlie Kirk never received any text messages the night before saying that he was worried about that he was going to get murdered tomorrow. I instantly said, well, here we have it. That's a lie. He definitively did send out text messages to both Dan Flood and Andrew Kolba. And when we met in person, she clarified that, okay, yes, that's real. And we didn't know until you said it because he was using a different app and she was checking his iMessages. So to me, if you lie, you're going to make an enemy of me. Just don't lie. How about that basic requirement to say to people, don't lie about what happened on that day. Don't lie about what you did on that day, because that's the first clue to investigators that that person should be looked at further.
All right.
Again,
Well,
this is common sense.
Okay, let's move to something else Blake Neff said. He said Candace has made other stranger allegations involving French paratroopers in maroon shirts, Egyptian Air Force planes flying out of Provo, Utah, and potential underground assassins traveling through unseen tunnels. At one point in early November, she started wildly throwing suspicion on members of Utah Valley's soccer team for wearing hoodies. There's been nothing there. What do you say to that?
He's lying. And that's the reason why Blake Neff is a suspicious character. I mean, him saying that I pointed to a soccer UVU person is complete fiction. I never had discussed that person on my show.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I can handle. I'm going to have to skip through the rest of this.
Somebody was asking for a clearer photo of the person on
I just don't understand how she could have 5 million subscribers listening to her talk about bullshit.
X, and I shared it. No suspicion. Never said this. Erica has been involved in a lot of the church stuff. It's not specifically tracking just Erica. It's Turning Point faith events. Broadly speaking, I gave that information as well. I told Justin Strife and Erica, I'm happy to give you this like color-coded spreadsheet. There's no question there's a correlation here between Turning Point USA faith in particular, which, by the way, from the beginning of this, I've said something is wrong with this faith contingent. Nothing, okay? And that is the reason why people are watching my show, because I'm the only one not treating them like they're absolute idiots who don't have two eyes, and who believe in magic bully theory, and who understand that Egyptian planes should not have been tracking Charlie even 3 times this year would be an anomaly, okay? They've been tracking him. We don't know.
So everyone's involved. It's a magic bullet.
Where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear.
Keep asking questions. Like, that's part of the grift. Been saying that a lot. We're just going to keep asking questions. People are lying. Everyone's involved. They've been complicit. How have they been complicit? Oh, I don't know. I can't name the names. I don't have concrete evidence.
Answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
No, nice try. It's not. It's you by saying, why are you asking?
Look, I roasted Pierce last week. This week, Pierce, he's saying a lot of the same shit I've been saying.
Questions. Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings. Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA, we have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit. It is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense that the public is not listening to. I am sorry to say this, Pierce, people like you. And what I love about you and I sitting down is that this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I
We got Hoops fan for $1 just got on home from the Blues game. Glad you're talking about Candace's dumbass. Also, Ghostface loves Sexplained. Taking a shot at Darth Ghostface.
So uncivilized.
We're getting uncivilized over on Rumble. Darth Ghostface responds, I hate Sexplained. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, Star Wars Explained. We call them Star Wars Sexplained. Big Disney shill. Thank you, Hoops fan. Hope the game was good.
said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans, and then you changed your mind.
Actually,
Pierce,
this time,
I'll see you next year when you change your mind again, and we have more information about what happened, and you realize that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular, and then you change your mind.
You may remember that one of your courageous moves was to repeatedly tell the world that Brigitte Macron is a man. As you now know.
Here we go.
And she is.
As you now know, we had a $300,000 bet to charity about this because she's a woman.
Yes.
Is my view.
She's not a woman.
Well, we're going to find out is the point, because it's going to court. They're suing you. And when she proves, as she will, that she's a woman, because it's very easy to prove, and you lose that case, then
so easy that she refuses to do it for years.
But then it will become more obvious to people that, look, I think you're a brilliant operator at what you do. That's, I like you personally. You know that, right? None of this is personal for me about you at all. I just have watched him last year from Bridget Macron now into the Charlie Kirk story. I think you've developed a modus operandi, which, to put it politely, is you flying what we would call in the world of journalism kites, and just seeing what can cause the most merry hell, therefore get you the biggest audience, therefore make you the most amount of money. And people...
So explained as a sellout, he knows the EU, but he sold his soul to corrupt groomer corporation to shill for their fake Star Wars canon. That is true. That is true.
As you know, you've been widely attacked now by a lot of people who say that you're just a ghoul, a vulture. You're doing this deliberately. You're inventing things or just flying ludicrous conspiracy theories to make money. Now, again, Candace, I don't know that you are, but I do know.
Celebrity.
Can you not interrupt me?
I do think it's pretty rich. It's pretty rich coming from you, is all I'm going to say. That's me putting it very nicely, given your background, your career, your celebrity involvement, the Princess Diana. Wrong messenger is what I'll say right off the top, okay? Wrong messenger. What you are mistaking, or I guess we're not even mistaking because you know what this is. You're talking about power versus the people. And you are always on the side of power first. You're on the side of the Israelis. It's so horrible. And, I'm going to pretend I don't see tens of thousands of Gazans dying.
I've actually been very critical of the Israelis, as you know,
where
in the
your
last
bread
year.
is buttered. Everybody
I've actually
knows
been very
Brigitte
critical of the
Macron
Israeli
has a
government.
penis, okay? It's very easy to present photos of 30 years of your life. Brigitte keeps teasing, I'm going to, Brigitte, nobody asked you for a blood test. We asked you for some photos and you refused.
I hope we really do find out. I really do. And Big Mike is next. I just think that she does look like a man, but coming from Candace, you can't trust it. Despite her being beaten with an ugly stick, it's hard to believe that she is female.
Find out,
and everybody knows
Candace,
that
we're
Charlie
gonna find
Kirk
out.
was not shot by Tyler Robinson on a rooftop. I am sorry that in this day and age, there seems to be such a shortage of testosterone that a woman has to be the person that states the obvious, right? I invite you to join me, and I know that you will by the end of next year, because they're not going to get away with what they did to my friend Charlie Kirk, and I am not going to change my mind, least of all when I am being called names by someone who has quite a year background and experience in doing things because it's lucrative and not always because it's sensitive.
Sure,
it's always lovely.
You can call me a hypocrite as much as you want. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just simply saying what other people have been saying about you. I didn't say I felt that.
Thank you.
I said
I'll let you know what people are saying about you too. I'll keep you
I
posted
read
on
it
what people
all,
are saying
like
about
you. I read it all the time. But I would say that, like I said at the start of this interview, I don't know whether any of the things you're saying are true or not. I just do know you're saying a huge amount of stuff. It's making you very wealthy. You're getting millions and millions of people coming in.
That's what it's all about.
Which by the way,
what is this idea that it's making me very wealthy? Can you actually explain that slowly?
Yes, I'm going to explain it to you slowly, because
How about you explain slowly what you think happened instead of fucking bouncing around and going in circles and blaming literally everyone.
Huge run-in, for example.
This is just like a talking point.
No, I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. When Sandy Hook happened and Alex Jones began weaponizing the Sandy Hook tragedy and weaponizing the grief of the poor parents who'd lost their children, and I began to attack him in public, and then eventually there was a court case, and it turned out he'd been spewing deliberate lies, and that every time he spewed them, they found he made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in the immediate aftermath of spewing the repeated lies that it was all staged and the families were actors and so on, which he knew to be lies. And he made himself extremely rich and ended up with $1 billion defamation finding against him because he'd been deliberately weaponizing people's grief. And the charge...
Yeah, I'm asking you to explain the
I'm
actual
explaining
financial
to
metrics.
the,
How was he making
I'm
money?
I'm explaining to you the analogy, which is There are, as you know, right now, a lot of people, from Tim Pool to New York Post to others, who've come out very stridently in the last week, and say that's exactly what you've been doing with Erica Kirk.
Yeah, but you haven't answered the question. So this is just made up. It's, as I said, this is just all fluff. You're suggesting that I'm making money. Did I sign a new advertiser? Are we reading more ads? Do we put this somewhere else? Do we sign
the more
a book
views
deal
you get on YouTube, the more money you
did I
make.
sell a T-shirt? Okay, but like, come on now, Pierce. Money on YouTube? Are you kidding me? I was already in a top 10 podcast globally before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And if you think that I would want,
I mean, it is true she was already popular, but I mean, how can you say no to more money?
my friend to be assassinated so I could go from being in the top 5 to being number 1, you're out of your mind. Okay.
I'm telling you,
it's so disrespectful.
I'm telling you.
But like the point is that everyone who is saying
people would do shit like this to go from 10 to 1.
I'm making more money cannot say how I'm making more money because it's just not true. Okay. So you're like, oh, she got a bump in viewership talking about Charlie.
Your YouTube numbers
everyone in the world.
Well, it's like this started before Charlie Kirk. You know, like with the Macron's wife saying that it's a man. Started with that. But after she got kicked out of the Daily Wire, this is just the kind of channel that she runs, where she says these crazy shit and she gets the conspiracy theorists on her side. And I don't know if that was the plan from the beginning, but it seems like saying Macron's wife is a man, that, you know, she saw the potential there. And now this tragedy happened and she sees potential in exploiting this. I mean, that's a lot more logical than what she's saying, that like every single entity in the world was involved and it wasn't Tyler Robinson.
World, because it was a public assassination. And then
are
it
your
went up
YouTube
in the weeks following, and it
Candace,
went back to normal.
Candace, are your YouTube numbers up since you've been doing the Charlie Kirk investigations?
What I am saying to you is that this is the exact same argument you guys had about Brigitte. So it can't, and then the same exact
Yeah, but I
same
think you were
argument
lying
had
about Brigitte.
about
You know
about the
that.
Blake Lively thing. Okay, but like, what about the Blake Lively thing? So you can't keep saying that, oh, she's always in the top 10 because she's talking about something. Or this is my podcast and it's me. It's just me. People enjoy my podcast because I don't treat them like they're idiots. I don't treat them like they should accept that Brigitte Macron.
I don't enjoy your podcast. I was bored out of my mind going over it earlier.
Just can't present one photo of herself raising her kids across 30 years. It's just too much to
Brigitte
ask.
Macron
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. How dare you? It's such an
Brigitte
intrusion of
Macron-
privacy. She'd rather file a transatlantic lawsuit
Candace.
than to just produce photos and put all of this to
Candace,
bed.
Brigitte
That's the
Macron-
difference between you and I. So now there's this repeat live from Kamala Chronicles, which we did, looking into Kamala's background because it was relevant to the election cycle. Then we did the Blake Lively lawsuit, and they said, oh, she's trying to change her brand. That's the only reason her numbers are up. Then we went to Brigitte, which I lost, by the way. I had to get a whole career change when I first covered that story. So joke's on me if I'm doing this to make money, but I was willing to be fired to tell the truth. And then it's all about Brigitte. And now we've arrived at Charlie Kirk. I feel like there's something about that actually is just people not being willing to admit that what people appreciate about me and why they keep coming back is that I'm willing to take risks to tell the truth.
No, I think
That's
don't get me
consistency.
wrong. I think
I was already sold out
I think-
on ads
I
to the
think-
end of the year because our podcast was successful.
Yeah,
I have not
Candace,
sold a T-shirt,
Candace,
nothing with his name on it. It's
Candace,
just me.
Oh, I haven't sold a T-shirt, everyone. Just getting millions of fucking views on our YouTube channel, and just like it says like, oh, my YouTube channel, like it's just some thing I do on the side and make a few bucks. No, you make a lot on that channel.
The reason I told the Alex Jones story is he did incredibly well out of Sandy Hook with his investigations. But as was established in the court case against him, brought by the families eventually, and I think we're going to see the same thing with Brigitte Macron and you, is that he was weaponizing deliberate lies for money. And I think you
Brigitte
did that.
Macron has a penis. I really
No,
want you to
Brigitte
know
Macron
that.
does
because I think
not
it's
have
important.
a penis.
Brigitte Macron has a
No,
penis.
she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had three
did she get
children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3
Did you get
children.
It removed? Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody, but Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneux.
Well-
and I just feel I want you to know that. I want you to know that Brigitte Macron probably stands peeing up. Probably
Okay.
pee.
Now, if Brigitte's Macron is actually a guy. Like it doesn't mean that Tyler Robinson didn't shoot Carly Kirk. It maybe makes Candace look a little better, but like it just really doesn't matter. They're two separate stories.
Well,
The
beauty is we have a big bet.
I think Brigitte
we have
stands.
a big bet.
But Pierce says that like it's going to court and she's going to prove. So I really hope definitively she proves either she is a woman or she's a man. I just think that'd be very entertaining.
And we're going to find out because it's going to court. And you will lose that court case. I think you will.
Yeah. I am not going to lose a court case because Brigitte is presenting evidence that Brigitte was born a woman, because that's never even been offered. That's just their PR coming after and saying these things. Nobody believes that Brigitte Macron is just unable to present any pictures. Nobody's asking for blood.
All right, let's wait for the court case. Let's wait for the court case.
Okay, great.
Now, look,
and you will be proven wrong again
there's
unless there's just federal corruption.
Okay, in the fallout from your encounter with Erica Kirk, Nick Fuentes said Candace Owens is done.
Out.
What a letdown.
Oh, LOL.
Tim Pool has called you evil. He says you're motivated by the fact you were secretly in love with Charlie Kirk. Is that true?
This is such ridiculous. Like, this is what I mean when I say like it's like LOL Fed slop. Oh, did Tim Pool say that I was secretly in love with him? This is it's so. Come on, there's no substance to this. This is so ridiculous. It's by any means necessary. Come out and attack Candace. The New York Post did an article that it was honestly amazing fan fiction. They even said that we used to work at Daily Wire. I'd throw my keys at my staff, and my staff hated me. I did not drive to work a single day when I was at the Daily Wire. They had a driver take me there. So we're just now in this weird spot where they're just making things up every single day. They said that my husband had a Qatari passport, and I just ignore it. And I keep investigating because I know what it's meant to do. It's meant to distract me. I'm very aware of what these people are trying to do, and it's not working. So I don't really feel
Which of your
by
theories?
the
Which of your
rantings of Nick
theories?
Fuentes and Tim Pool.
All right. Which of your theories when you were with Erica did she think was convincing?
We didn't. What do you mean by that?
Well, did she think that Israel was involved? Did she think that there were French paratroopers involved? Did she think the many
nature of the meeting that we had? I shared information with her and told her faith events and tours, and yeah, I mean, it was kind of like sharing the information with her. So there was nothing.
You're sharing information. But when I actually ask you to be specific about who do you think did what, that's where it all hits a shuddering halt. You don't know, do you?
Exactly.
You don't actually know, anyway.
Of course, if I actually knew who shot Charlie Kirk, I would be instantly publicizing it. I'd say, I figured it out. That's not how an investigation works. Pierce just doesn't work like that, okay?
Oh, okay. So then shut the fuck up about it if you are clueless. You're saying it wasn't Tyler Robinson. You have no clue what happened, but you're making videos. You're getting a lot of views, making a lot of money.
You have to follow the clues until you arrive at a conclusion. Of course, I cannot confidently state that it was, John Smith who shot Charlie Kirk from the left side. I don't know.
I don't care what you can confidently state. I want to know what you personally think about this. What happened? If you're such a fucking expert on the topic, what do you think happened? She can't even say.
Know that yet. I don't know that information yet. And when I do know it, I will publicize it without question. I just am pointing out the inconsistencies, the lies. He was not shot with 30-06, and he did not have a Man of Steel neck,
how do you
and
know?
That's completely made up. Well, actually, that's going to be my show today. I do now factually know that Man of Steel thing was made up, and that never came from the surgeon's mouth. So again, we have another lie. We have another lie coming out of Turning Point USA. And put in quotation marks that lie, that it was a direct quote from the surgeon. That was made up. So yeah, I'm going to
unfucking believable, man.
Keep track of all of these lies, deliver them to the public, and allow them to surmise. I'm going to allow them to think critically, increasingly.
Pre the meeting with Erica, you repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried, or even if he has been buried yet. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that. I think that was Milo Yiannopoulos.
You've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope. I just communicated to the people that he had a Catholic funeral mass, because people were saying I was lying about him going to a Catholic church, which was another random attack that I had to endure. So commentator with Erica, but I do know where he's. I think the implication that Milo made, again, you'd have to ask him, was that he's not buried. No. I do know where there is a spot for him to be buried or to be held in a mausoleum. But that's just, you have the wrong person on that.
Erica was emphatic in the CBS thing that she wanted you to stop with the conspiracy theories, or maybe you've got it all right and all of this stuff is true and it's all involving the Israelis and Egypt and Turning Point in a mass conspiracy with this young kid, Tyler Robinson, brought in, and they're all involved in this dramatic murder of Charlie Kirk. Maybe let's just assume for a moment to stop with you now, continuing to talk about your theories, or does she still want you to stop?
Well, she didn't ask me to stop. If that's the question that you're asking, is throughout that meeting,
she did publicly, obviously. So your response to that is what?
I'm telling you that then we had a conversation, and I was not asked throughout that conversation to stop. And to the contrary, I shared information that I had, and I got information from them.
Right.
That helps.
So you will carry on.
Focus.
You will carry on.
Yes.
Turning Point is like, let's have a meeting, Candace. What do you know that's going on that could help in this investigation?
With the theories.
Yes. Until I feel confident of who killed Charlie Kirk, I will not stop investigating this.
And Erica.
All right, so probably what's coming is Candace is going to continue investigating because she's an investigator, and maybe she will give us a name at some point or some grand theory on what she thinks happened to Charlie Kirk. You know, it's just like there's another step to this grift.
Okay, is okay with you doing that?
I don't know how many other ways to answer your question other than saying she did not ask me or request for me to stop in person.
Yep. It's, it's his fault. His fault, his decision.
And when we spoke about that moment, she felt that Barry Weiss was being Barry Weiss.
And she made no request of you whatsoever, Erica Kirk, in 4.5 hours.
Request in what sense?
About how she would like you to conduct yourself about the murder of her husband going forward.
No.
Nothing at all.
No, she didn't make a request for me to conduct myself in any way.
And she expressed no concern about any of the theories that you've been
I
putting
think
out.
she probably knows me through the lens of her husband, so I'd ask me to conduct myself in any way. That seems to just be coming from the media.
Mind has taken Egypt and potentially others, but they were all involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Well, to be fair, I think we're all putting Egypt in parentheses because we kind of don't think that we have exactly a strong Egyptian lobby here in the United States. And I think just, what I've learned about them now is it's like it's a bunch of different countries. It's not just French people.
You know, his own employees, and they were all in on this to murder Charlie Kirk. You will be proven 100% right. And I will be the first to salute your brilliant investigative journalism. But in return, if it turns out you're completely wrong, then I would expect you to come back on Uncensored and admit you were completely wrong. Is that a fair deal?
I was hoping that by the time we did this, I'd be able to do that because they showed me something that was so compelling. That didn't happen. So, yeah, deal is on, as always. Between you and I, the deal is on.
Excellent. I'll add it to the list. Candace, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We're both...
Fuck you, you stupid cunt. We got Hoops fan for $1. Candace is such a lying bitch. I know more about nuclear fission than she knows how to tell the truth.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
We definitely need to get more clips on the channel. We're going to have segments. We need clips for the segments as well. The last 2 weeks, we've just been watching Piers Morgan, man. Hoops fan, again, for $1. The only time I want to see Candace again is if she is in the octagon with Islam. That would be entertaining. I think Islam would smash that cunt.
Shut up, cunt.
He would smash. He'd put the system on trial.
I'll put the system on trial.
Thank you, Hoops fan, for the $2, the $3 total for the night. And then we did have a request, Nick Fuentes, his reaction. Oh yeah, he's not on YouTube. He's on Rumble. I'm looking for his channel. He's on Alex Jones. Here we go.
Our featured story, it's all about, on that point, Charlie Kirk's assassination. And we'll talk about Candace Owens meeting with Erica Kirk. So yesterday, finally, there was a showdown. But unfortunately, it didn't happen in public. It happened behind closed doors. Yesterday afternoon, Candace Owens finally had a sit-down with Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk. They met for 4.5 hours with lawyers, with personnel. Candace asked all of her questions, and Turning Point personnel provided all of their answers, all of their receipts, documentation. They came prepared. And if you've been following the story, this is the latest development, because what was supposed to happen yesterday was a live stream. For months, Candace Owens has...
Like, if you believed in Candace and everything, her canceling on that live stream was sketchy as fuck. Obviously did not want to do that live stream.
Has been accusing Turning Point USA of complicity or participation in Charlie Kirk's assassination. She says that Turning Point personnel betrayed Charlie Kirk. Those closest to him betrayed him. He was betrayed by everybody, she said. And as time has gone on, she has insinuated that
596,000 followers. It's weird because Candace has like 5 million on YouTube. Is she really that more popular than Nick Fuentes? Is it just the Rumble algorithm, or is there more bots on YouTube?
Erica herself, who is now the head of Turning Point, as well as many of Charlie's close friends like Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett, among others, that they were all involved, that they either...
Yeah, like that is something I do not stand for. You know, if you're going to take shots at the Republican Party and you don't like what's going on with it, to endorse Kamala Harris I mean, that's ridiculous. What I can get from that is his whole thing is Trump's not doing what he's supposed to, so he'd rather burn it all to the ground, which would be electing a Democrat. But, you know, I think if Kamala got in for those 4 years, this country would be over. We'd be like past a point of no return. So thank Trump that he got in. 3.5 million dead subs.
Gave their consent or they participated in Charlie's murder. Finally, Turning Point felt the need to answer those charges. And they announced a couple of weeks ago that they would do a live stream addressing the allegations, a public in-person live stream where they would talk about it. That was supposed to happen yesterday. And I'm sure you remember this. Blake Neff put down the gauntlet. He said they are hosting a live in-person stream in Phoenix from Turning Point headquarters where they would respond with receipts and personnel and everything to all of the conspiracies about Turning Point. He said that Candace Owens could attend in person and that she would be at liberty to ask anything. So we were supposed to get a live, think about it this way. We were supposed to get a live in-person confrontation. And I think that's honestly the best case scenario because that witnessed this on the court of public opinion. And the accused will present their evidence. The accuser will present their evidence. The accused will face their accuser in person. And after that, nobody can say that anything is being hidden. Nobody can say that any wild conspiracies and speculative case because of the due process constitutional protections afforded to Tyler Robinson. And so I think everybody would have liked to see, whether you're skeptical or not, whatever side of it you're on, everybody would have liked.
I just think it's insane. I guess I welcome it because she'll lose. But if you're the Democrats, like they need to sit down and have a talk with her. Be like, look, bitch, you were a DEI hire. You're not going to be the nominee. You suck ass. They don't have anyone really. I mean, anyone is better. They don't really have a good candidate, but not this dumbass. She got destroyed. And you know, she peaked. She got vice president, first female vice president, half black, half white, even though she's Indian. But let's just pretend she's black. You know, like there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
To see Candace Owens, who unquestionably has spearheaded the issue, for better or for worse. We all wanted to see her ask the questions, and that would have been the moment of truth. Is there even a rebuttal? And if there is it compelling? What is it? Everyone was dying to know. But she backed down. She said, oh, I can't go. My husband has people coming in from out of town. I'm busy that day.
That is such bullshit. If you were a fan of Candace Owens and she comes up with that excuse, obviously she dodged that live stream.
And that was a huge disappointment because you can't do that. You actually can't spearhead a challenge like that and egg everybody on and lead the charge, lead the mob for 3 months, pointing the finger. They did it. They're guilty. We have the evidence. We have the receipts. We have the names. And then when those people who you have been accusing, when those people say, okay, bring it on, say it to our face where we can actually answer the charge. You can't turn around then and say, oh, I'm busy that day. Oh, I got something going on. That doesn't work. Because at the minimum, let's say you don't have a responsibility to get everything right or anything right. Let's say for a moment that Candace is completely in the right. She can ask any question, say anything. And even though she frequently gets it wrong or has disregard for the truth or her standards are lax, let's pretend for a moment that doesn't matter. At the minimum, if you're talking all that shit, you have an obligation then to face the person you're accusing and make the case. Because otherwise, what credibility do you really have?
Absolutely none.
Difficult to prove defamation if you're a public figure, and it's even more difficult for it to be lucrative, for it to be viable, to win any kind of money, because you have to prove the damages too. How do you prove that somebody is engaging in actual malice? You have to prove that they lied and they knew they were lying, which is a very tough thing, because how do you know that somebody is lying? Well, public opinion. That's what a private meeting is for. So she sits down for 4.5 hours, and I'm sure she was told in some way, shape, or form, we will sue you if you don't stop. And so Candace went live the next day, and she wants to have her cake and eat it too. She's trying to keep up the charade for her followers, but she knows that if she keeps talking, one, she's wrong. She was definitively told she was wrong, and that she's going to be sued. And what's sad about this is that the real enemy, the real problem is the culture of paranoia that she has created, because now her own audience doesn't even believe her. And I watched this live stream today, 300,000 people watching, and all the comments were negative. All of them. In the live chat, all of the top comments. If you go to the top comments of her video, every single one is saying, I can't trust anybody. It's a big club and no one's in it. I'm done with this. This has rotted my brain. I'm going back to my normal life. We can't trust anybody. Everybody is saying that she got the call. She sold out. She even addressed it on her show. She said it's all bots. So I guess that's part of the conspiracy now too. The French, the Egyptians, the Israelis, the Beekeeper Society, and even her own audience that disagrees with her, now they're part of the conspiracy too. And the audience think she's part of the conspiracy. Everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. And now she's being devoured by the monster that she herself created. She whipped everybody up with this insanity, totally irrational, totally paranoid. She got told the facts. She's trying to save face, and she's now being devoured by the monster that she herself created, who is saying, oh, now she's in on it. Now Erica was at her wedding. She's in the club too. And it's a fitting end. And I think these contradictions are eventually going to destroy her. You see, she's becoming completely unhinged. The way that she is lashing out at Tim Pool, she did some Instagram live pleading with her audience, I'm not compromised. This is the beginning of the end. These contradictions will devour her. And in the end, she is going to get crippled by defamation lawsuits. I know she's got a few of them coming at least. And that's going to be the end of it. Let this be a lesson. And the lesson is, our strongest weapon that we have is the truth. And the second that we compromise on our intellectual standards, the second that we compromise for the sake of some sense of partisanship, for example, I saw Ian Carroll. He said, you're on.
The truth, man. Is he a Fed? Is he a Fed? What's the truth? Karma's a bitch. All right, you guys. Candace Owens. She's a clown. Yeah, I went into it with an open mind, and it was rough going through her shit. But I do feel I have more insight on her grift. And, I'm very experienced dealing with these frauds on the internet and how they operate. And I just, I understand the game that she's playing. I understand the key words the strategy, and it's disgusting. What she's doing, exploiting the death of Charlie Kirk, the assassination. And like she's getting a lot of views, but she's like not really good at exploiting it. She's getting the views, but her story makes no fucking sense. But that's probably the genius of it, is because her subscribers, her audience, they just want the conspiracy theories, and that's what she gives them. And their minds are racing. But I agree with Nick. I think defamation lawsuits are coming. I am rooting for Macron's wife to be a man. Like, I hope Candace is right about that. But as for Turning Point goes, like, I don't know where she's gonna go from here. Either she's gonna kind of slowly back away from it, or she's gonna just double and triple down. But at some point, to keep this grift going, you're gonna have to tell your stupid audience what you think actually happened. And it's insane to me at this point that she can't put out there what she thinks happened, what she thinks happened to Charlie Kirk. I guess she doesn't, because she's afraid that the French government's going to come after her. That is true. Either way, it'll be good. Either Macron's wife is a man, and it's funny, or actually a woman, and Candace gets shit on and sued, and that will also be really funny. Imagine being afraid of Frenchies.
You guys can talk to this clown.
Oh, yeah. Look at this little frat boy. So cool. Go back to your bathhouse. Compromise at the bathhouses. There goes Rubio, little punk.
One of my favorite political moments. Alex Jones trolling Rubio. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out tonight. Battle of the platforms. I think Rumble takes it tonight. Consistent. YouTube was up and down, but I blame Candace Owens. I blame Candace Owens for turning people away. That was rough to get through. I thought it would be. I thought it was a good stream. Entertained. I thought it would be more entertaining listening to Candace. But really, her video on her channel was just shit. Oh, I had a meeting with Erica Kirk. Doesn't mention the meeting at all. I thought Pierce's interview was a lot better, and it was better than his Fuentes interview last week. So Trump spoke tonight. I was thinking, like, are we gonna cover Trump? But I couldn't get live early enough to cover it. And it was, he talked. It wasn't anything that massive. So we just roasted Candace tonight. Rumble over YouTube. Rumble is not racist towards new channels. I mean, I've had this channel for a little bit, but Rumble, doesn't is not bigoted towards channels that just are starting out. Just a clown behavior. So I encourage people, anyone talking about Candace Owens, to just spread the word that she's a clown. I think we proved it tonight. If there was any doubters, made her a clown in the thumbnail, and I think she's even more of a clown after watching her shit. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, thanks, guys. We're gonna be here every fucking week. This stream is going to continue to evolve. I'm gonna get more wired in with politics and what's going on with these other creators. Like Piers Morgan, Candace Owens, Fuentes, Crowder. It's like we're gonna just become familiar with all of them, and we're gonna start roasting people, and we're gonna start getting under skin, and like people are gonna get pissed off, and Darth Melvin is gonna get out there in the political space. We're gonna get a boom, and we're gonna get some followers. And like there's more, we're primarily on the Star Wars channel, but I think there's more potential with politics. That's what I'm hoping for. Like right now, stream numbers, like for a newer channel, like okay, could be worse. We're gonna get to 100 viewers on YouTube, 100 viewers on Rumble, and it's just gonna continue to get bigger. So that's the plan. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Eventually, I think we're gonna start clipping. We're gonna start clipping from this stream just to make videos to get out there. But I'll probably start doing that like once I got the show completely ready and where I want it to be. That's what we'll do. If you got a problem with it, shut up, cunt.
Shut up, cunt.
All right. I will see you guys on Friday, Star Wars channel, Valley of the Melvin. And have a good one.